It was a transfer deed that was very comprehensive, that was very well thought through, because the ministry at that time was involved. And when the transfer back, I remember as early as February this year, as a PS had raised some of these issues, whereas we were anticipating the lapse or the coming to an end of the deed, we now gave an advisory to the head of public service that when the when the deed lapses, this is what we are proposing to be taken. And I think, as what you've heard from the chairman, what is happening now is exactly what we advised at that time, that that process should be all-inclusive. It should be properly participated by national government together with the county government. They agree, and then the auditor be involved, the auditor general be involved in the process, just to ascertain that the pending bills are for services and goods that were delivered to Nairobi. And then if there were any assets that were bought during that section, then those assets, we find a way of transferring them to Nairobi County. And those that were bought using the national government, we agree whether do the national government hand them over to the county government, or the national government retains it and use it in other sectors. So it is a well thought out process, and the advisory given is being followed to the letter. As a national government, we will continue watching and keeping close eye to Nairobi and other counties to ensure that the promise to the Mwananchi is delivered. In case we see there are lapses, we'll be able to invoke the same. And what we've done as a ministry now is that the Nairobi NMS thing was a knee-jerk reaction. Now we're putting up a framework which will facilitate or enable transfer of functions to either levels of government, so that we have now a legal instrument that can be invoked whenever there are such failures. We're also looking at a situation whereby voluntarily a county government can say, look, we are not able to manage, let's say, level 5s of hospitals. We hand it over back to the national government. Or the national government says, look, housing is not a national function. Let's give it to the county government. So what we are doing now is, as a ministry, together with all the stakeholders within the devolution family, is to put up instruments. And that one is going through the public hearing, so that now it goes to Parliament for enactment, where now we have a proper framework to ensure that whenever need arises to transfer a function from one level to another, we have a very clear framework. Because when NMS was created and now the deed that I mentioned was being developed, it was just first, what do you call it, knee-jerk reaction. So we want now that, and we are trying to anticipate that kind of thing in future. Yeah. But going forward, also as a ministry, we are responsible for capacity building of counties, where we now build both the technical capacity of staff, as well as also helping counties to put up systems which are beyond a government or beyond the governor, so that when a governor transitions to another one, the systems that have been put in place are helping to serve the Wananchi. So capacity building will continue. Technical assistance to the county governments will continue through the Ministry of Devolution, and that is to build and enable the counties so that we don't have to be transferring functions between one level of government to another one, because all have the capacity.
Most of the virtually all functions, according to the Schedule 4 of the Constitution, that were transferred to by the Constitution to, or put for transfer by the Constitution to the county government, they have virtually all of them have been gazetted for transfer. What has not happened is completing what we call the unbundling of those functions, the identification, the costing, the identification of the resources, the staff, the facilities which need to move to the county governments. That is work that remains to be done. And that is the work which we are embarking on for the next 2 months in accordance with the President's directive. Conflicts are partly arisen between the two levels of government because of this issue about transfer of functions. which is why His Excellency the President, because he knows the county governments need to work well, to be strong, to deliver to services properly, and because he knows that the two levels of government need to work well together to deliver to the Kenyan citizen, to deliver to the Kenyan people, to get the kind of economic transformation that he seeks to get for the country. That's why he has directed for the transfer of all these functions that were certain for transfer to the county government to be effected. And to that extent, therefore, a lot of even the disputes which we have received now will become redundant. Because, you know, it is not just they have come to us, some of them are in court. All those aspects will become redundant. Once we do this exercise and we do what the President has directed, the court cases will be without any sense, and the issues of disputes will happen. That is not to say that there will never be disputes in the future here and there. They will be there and they will be resolved. At the moment, we can say that as IGRTC, we have looked at about 41 disputes at the moment. Some of them which came after hearing them, we have transferred them. For example, 2 of them I know we put to the National Lands Commission because that they are better placed to do them. Others, some 11 of them, we have already resolved. So they are in between. But as I say, actually, whatever, many of them, once we do this exercise in the next 2 months, then many of those disputes, some of which are in the making at the moment, you know, there are some which are still in the process of coming. Some of them will just disappear. But again, I want to say it is not that this will totally eliminate all disputes, because, you know, when 2 axes are in the back, you know, we have been told they must make noises between themselves. So we will have disputes, but the major ones will have disappeared. What are the assets which have been given to the Nairobi City County government to do it? Was that part of the additional allocation? Because the Nairobi Metropolitan Service did enable Nairobi City County to get some more resources outside what is the conventional. You know, the NMS has spent much more money than what is even allocated to the county government of City County government of Nairobi. Therefore, to the extent that, for example, they did things which maybe they will not yield any revenue soon to Nairobi City County government, and the Nairobi City County government has budgetary constraints, I think there will be an amicable discussion on how to help to clear those pending bills. But I don't think it will be a question of whether it is national or county government. We'll have to see what is the most rational way of doing it. As IGRTC, we stand there to help both of them to come to